ladders. So we carry a total of 48 feet on our engines. We have 4 ladders. We have our 10-foot attic ladder, our combo ladder, our 14-foot roof ladder, and our 24-foot extension ladder. All of our ladders are made by Duo Safety out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And they're all constructed of solid beam T6061 aluminum alloy. Our old ladders used to have truss construction. So starting with our 10-foot attic ladder, our 10-foot attic ladder is 11 foot 2 inches closed, and it is 10 feet 1.87 inches open. It is 12.12 inches wide when it's open, and it has a banking thickness of 1.75 inches by 4.25 inches, and this ladder weighs 16 pounds. So one thing with this ladder, it has rubber foot pads so that we could use it on interior operations when we go inside a home. We don't want to damage the floor. We could use this ladder for looking and peeking inside, looking for any extension. It does have hinged rungs so that it does fold open. Our next ladder is our combo ladder. Our combo ladder, as it sits closed, is 6 foot 2. When we open it up and use it as an A-frame ladder, it is 5 foot 6. And then we use it as a straight, it is 9 feet long. This ladder is 23 3/4 inches wide, and it weighs 46 pounds. The ladder has a banking thickness of 5.68 inches. And this ladder we're going to be able to use for like a multi-purpose reasons when we're in a home. If we need to change out like a smoke detector, batteries, reset a switch, anything like that where we need to gain access, we can use this ladder. Our next ladder is our 14-foot roof ladder. Our 14-foot roof ladder has 2 spring-loaded spring-loaded spurs that we could dig into the roofs. They are 3/4 inches thick. They are rated at 1,000 pounds each, so you have a total of 2,000 pounds. This ladder itself is 14 feet 2 inches, 2.25 inches long when closed. As it sits, it weighs 28 pounds. It is 19 inches wide and has a banking thickness of 2 3/4 inches. This ladder is what we're going to use whenever we're working on a roof and we need to gain access when we have a slippery roof or an unstable roof, and we can distribute the weight better. It allows us to create a better stance to stand on and give us a better grip, especially if we have a steep pitch on the roof. And then our last ladder we have is our 24-foot extension ladder. Our 24-foot extension ladder is 14 feet 2 3/4 inches when closed, 24 feet when open. It's 21 3/4 inches wide, and it has a banking thickness of 5.375 inches, and it weighs 72 pounds. This ladder has a total of 12 rungs. Each rung is spaced out 12 3/4 inches. The rungs itself have 20 serrations on them so that you don't slip off of the ladder. Allows your feet to not just slide off if it's wet. The rungs are connected to the beams by our ladder blocks. They are welded 95%, and then they are expanded 5%, and they're made of 1.25 aluminum alloy. So what they do when you weld it 95% and that 5% expansion, it allows it, if it ever fails on a weld, you have that expansion to help back you up. Continuing down on our extension ladder, we also have our 3/8 manila rope. It is an abrasive rope so that it doesn't slip out of our hands, but it is also a general common rope you could find at a hardware store if you ever need to change it out immediately. The rope is 30 foot long, and it attaches into our fly section by our rope clip, and it is rated at 825 pounds, but it should never require more than 75 pounds to pull this or extend the fly on this ladder. So there's 2 sections to this ladder. Like I said, we have the bed section, and then we have the fly section. So whenever we extend it, we always want to make sure that when we're extending it, it's free moving and it doesn't require more than 75 pounds. So some of the things we're going to use these ladders for, we're going to use these ladders for gaining access to higher parts of a building, rescuing victims, or egress for firefighters. So maintenance with all of our ladders. We do follow NFPA 1931, which is kind of like the general guide of firefighting ladders, and then we have NFPA 1932, which is the maintenance for all ladders. All of our ladders are tested annually here at Station 1 by an off-site company, and basically what they do is they come in, they extend the extension ladder to full length, and they put horseshoes at each end, about 6 inches in, and they'll put a 325-pound weight in the middle of the ladder. They'll leave that on there for a minute, and then they'll measure from the ground to the bottom of that ladder and measure how high it is off the ground. What they'll do then after is take a 500-pound weight that's 18 inches long and set it right in the center, and we'll leave it on there for 5 minutes, and then they'll take that weight off and leave it off for another 5 minutes, and they'll measure again from the ground to the bottom of that ladder. And if there's any more than half an inch of drop on a 24-foot ladder, we need to take it out of service. We do wash these ladders with just mild soap and water and a mixed soap. Anytime we need to lubricate the rails, we could use old candle wax or paraffin wax. Engineer Spacef and Chief Powell are in charge of all of our ladder safety, or all of our ladders and repairs. Anything noted that looks like it could cause any damage, we should notify them. And then we also have our heat indicators. So we have one halfway up on the ladder between the 5th and 6th rung, and then we have another here at the top, just below the 2nd rung. These are orange in color, and at any time they get within a heat of 300 degrees, they will turn to black. And what that means is the ladder can lose 25% of its strength in that moment. Another thing too is these ladders are rated at 750 pounds, but with a 4-to-1 safety ratio. So basically what that means is anytime that 4-to-1 safety ratio actually comes out to 3,000 pounds, which seems like a lot, but we could generate up to 2,000 pounds of force anytime just climbing in our gear, that when we weigh 300 pounds, depending on how we're moving on the ladder or how we're manipulating the ladder, that shock load really can create an intense weight on the ladder, whereas that 3,000 pounds is a static load. So we just need to be aware of that. So some safety, just make sure we walk up the ladder using, stepping, using our foot and our off hand as we're climbing, making sure that we're wearing our PPE, at least a brush jacket, helmet, and gloves, if not full PPE. We want to make sure that when we're throwing this ladder, we're 10 feet away from any electrical. It does conduct electricity due to the fact that it is aluminum. We need to be aware of any hazards below on the ground as well as doorways. We also need to be aware that these ladders are set to be climbed at a 75-degree angle or 60-degree angles in a rescue. So in a rescue, we want to set it below the window sill at a 75-degree angle is our working angle where we could set it in the window. It does have labels on the side. It does have 4 labels on all of the ladders, one for caution for electricity, one for warning using improper techniques, and then it has the one for the proper climbing angle. And this conducts my drill on the ladders. Do you guys have any questions?